Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today is Sunday. The Giants are on a bye week, so I have a little bit of extra time today. I'm not too focused on football, so I figured let me go ahead and make a video. Let me go ahead and prepare myself and you guys for the upcoming week. We're going to do our Sunday technical, so we'll look at the futures, and then we'll check out a few stocks that I am watching into next week. So if you enjoy this video after watching it, make sure to press that like button. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And also, if you are unaware, I live stream every single weekday, Monday through Friday, as long as the market is open from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So make sure to come check that out as well. All right, guys, we're just going to go ahead and do a casual video, look over a few things, prepare ourselves for the upcoming week, get a good idea of the NASDAQ, the Dow, the S&P, where the market looks to be heading, and then look at a few individual stocks. Nothing groundbreaking, just updating you guys on some action that went on last week after that two-day pullback we saw and how I feel about the market. So here is the daily chart on the NASDAQ on your screen. You guys can see after that nice breakout back in late October, we've been on a very nice run, right? Continuous run higher and higher, and we got a little bit of a pullback over the last 2 days, probably causing a little bit of panic in those that get a little bit antsy when they see market pullback. But you know, right now, nothing that I would be too concerned about. We did pull back, you know, just about, let me see from the highs, about 3% from the highs, so just a normal little pullback that we have seen in the past, and we're starting to bounce off of it. Now, where we got the bounce is the key thing that I want to talk about today. I'm going to show you a trend line on the hourly chart, and it is a perfect trend line bounce. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to the hourly chart, and this is true for both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So here is the hourly chart on the NASDAQ, guys. This is the hourly over the last 20 days of price action. Now, if I draw a trend line from the beginning of, back here on the 18th of October, if I draw this trend line, what you guys will notice is that we perfectly bounced off that trend line last week. So the 18th of October is where this starts. We can go ahead and we bounce off of it right here on the 25th of October. We get a little bit extended, but when we pull back to this level, you guys can see this little bottom here at the, this is the 10th. And then on Friday, that is where we held up as well. So me seeing this trend line here on the NASDAQ on the 1 hour chart, this is making me very confident that we might just see this thing continue higher next week. I think this is a fantastic little bounce here on the NASDAQ. This is a higher low. This is a higher high that was formed on Friday, engulfing 2 days of price action. So I really like to see that. Now, of course, there are still some levels to be aware of. We'll go ahead and zoom in here to the closer term, and we'll look at some levels that we need to be aware of, right? So up here, right around this 16,250, I think is still a dangerous area. 16,250, that is definitely an area I want to see break. That is Wednesday pre-market highs. After that, we have these support levels here where we were holding previously around 16,280. So I think if we get through this level here, the 16,250 to 16,280, then I think this market's definitely going to be pushing back to all-time highs. Now, next week, if we start to get into this area, start to find a little bit of resistance, then maybe we come back and retest this trend line, right? That could be what we see. We could expect some resistance in this 250 to 280 area, 16,250 to 16,280 on the NASDAQ. So that is what I'm going to be looking at next week. When we push back up higher next week, if we do we find resistance in this range? It's about a 30 to 40 point range here on the NASDAQ. If we get above that 280, then you're basically right back into this consolidation up here, and you're probably going to get a pretty strong move above that if you see that move occur. So I'm definitely watching this. The big thing, guys, even if I go to the 4 hour, you'll see this as well. Here it is on the 4 hour. It's a little bit more zoomed out. This is the 4 hour trend line that we were just talking about. So let me go ahead and zoom in for you guys real quick. There you go. You can see it on the 4 hour. Bounce, bounce, and then here's your little double bounce here. This is a higher low. It's on the trend line. I think that is a very bullish thing to see, guys. So, guys, that was the NASDAQ. Now I want to show you that exact trend line here on the ES, right? So here is the ES, and I actually already have it drawn. So right here on the hourly chart on the ES, which is the S&P 500, you guys will see the trend line that is here on your screen. So back on October 22nd, you bounce again here on the 27th. You bounce again off it on the 29th. And then here again on the 10th. and the 12th, you get 2 more bounces off this, and you can see the ES is starting to push off that level. So I think this trend line is just as bullish here on the ES. Here it is on the 4-hour chart, guys. So here's the 4-hour. You guys can see the trend line. Back to the hourly. You guys can see it holds as well. And then if we zoom in here, I really think this is bullish that we were able to barely close above this 46.80, 46.81. You could technically say that we're still at it. So this is definitely a potential tough area here on the ES. Now, why do I say that? Because this was previous support right here. You can see it was previous support. It was green, right? It was a green support level. But what you will notice is I'm going to turn this red because it went ahead and turned into resistance right here, right? So that support turned into resistance. Look at this triple top that formed, and then we went ahead and fell. So as we move back into this, does this turn into resistance once again? We will have to see next week if that occurs. If we can move above, hold it as support, turn it back into support, and then push again off of it, that would be the most bullish thing we can see. So moral of the story here, guys, on the ES and on the NASDAQ, that 1-hour and 4-hour trend line is beautiful. We bounced right off of it, and that keeps me bullish here on the market. We have some resistance above 46.80 on the ES, and then on the NASDAQ, we have this 16,250 and 16,280 level to be aware of. That's what we need to be watching. Now, quickly, let's go ahead and jump into the Dow Jones just to take a look at it, guys. We can see here on the 4-hour, there also is a somewhat of a trend line here on the NASDAQ, or on the Dow, I'm sorry. I don't really think a trend line would be formed just from 2 touches. So that's a little bit early to call that an uptrend. You guys will notice from the ES and the NASDAQ, it was multiple touches over time. This one is just this little double touch of this trend line. Now, if the market is strong next week, then I'm sure the Dow will get some push as well. We do have a lot of Dow companies reporting earnings next week. So that could put a little bit of a hamper on the plan for upside. If some of these Dow companies don't report great, that could affect the Dow Jones more than it would affect, say, the NASDAQ, which is heavily tech stocks. So Dow looks good. We're definitely holding here at a higher low, I'm sorry. You guys can see here's a low, here's a higher low. The one thing that I will say is if I go out to the 15-minute chart, let's go to the hourly chart, you guys will notice this little downtrend that has formed. So I would like to see the Dow above this downtrend before I would say that this is bullish, right? Because this could easily push back up and then reject back into the top of this uptrend. So watch this downtrend on the Dow. You guys can see it on the hourly chart right there, and then it started back at the highs. I would watch out for that downtrend. On the NASDAQ and the ES, I really like that uptrend, and that is how I feel for the futures right now. So let's go ahead and now jump into some particular stocks that I am watching into next week. All right, guys, so number one is arguably my favorite stock right now, and that is Facebook. Facebook, I believe, still has some potential huge opportunity back to the upside. I don't think that Facebook should be where it is. I think it is undervalued here in the 330 area. The NASDAQ is very strong. It's at all-time highs, basically, if you ignore the 3% pullback that came. But you can see when the NASDAQ was at all-time highs about a week ago, Facebook has been lagging this move tremendously. I think Facebook should get some push because of the catalyst, the metaverse catalyst going on. I think there should be some upside due to that. I like the technical formation as well. So I like what could happen for Facebook here in the long term. January, February, March, that's my timeline for Facebook starting to really wake up. I think Facebook is a good buy here. I personally am invested in this with some January and December call options. So you guys can see last week, we did pull back, we pushed back higher, and what we did here was we created a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders. Now, what you'll see, this is an inverse head and shoulders. That is a bullish sign. If you are a bear and you like to look for head and shoulders, what I'll tell you to do is put a minus sign in front of the ticker on Thinkorswim and see what this does, right? So this is the inverse of Facebook's chart. Now, if you are a bear and you like to see things to the downside, would you call this a head and shoulders? Would you think that is bearish? I think it would be. This is a head and shoulders formation. You can see that right here, and that is typically a very bearish thing to see. If you were someone that were looking for downside, it would make sense to look for Facebook back to the downside here after a head and shoulders. But Remember, that's the inverse of Facebook. The actual Facebook chart is like this, and that is an inverse head and shoulders. I think that is quite bullish, and I think if Facebook gets over 345 next week, I think this could be a very big move. There is resistance at the 50 SMA and 100 SMA here on the daily chart, so I will be aware of that. But if we can break over that 345, I think there should be some very nice strength here on Facebook next week and also into the coming weeks. All right, guys, so the next one I have for you is Netflix, and this is probably one of the cleanest charts that I've seen over the last few months. This is an incredible previous high hold into support and bounce off of it. You guys saw this on Friday. We talked about this nonstop in my live stream. So you guys can see Netflix back in mid-October pushed higher. We pulled back over the last few weeks. Where did we pull back to? We pulled back perfectly to this previous high here. You guys can see a break and a retest. There is nothing cleaner than that. I love this chart formation. This is the chart formation that I look for on a daily basis. So a beautiful formation here, guys, on Netflix, and you saw the push that we saw on Friday, and I think this has more. I know it may be a little bit late. I know if the NASDAQ pulls back, this could get a little nasty back to the downside, but the strength that Netflix shown on Friday after bouncing off of these previous highs, I really do believe that Netflix has more upside. I also think that there is a magnet at that psychological level now of 700. I think we try to test it. You may find some resistance there around 699, 700, maybe a little bit of rejection off that level. But at this point, guys, I love this technical formation. This could easily have another run up, guys. If we sort of look at this run up, this was about 11%. So if we take 11% from there, that is right at around $720 a share. So I think Netflix has upside next week. I'll definitely be watching it. This is a great formation, a break and retest. Here it is on the 4-hour. You guys can see it's extremely clean. Little double bottom right at previous highs. I absolutely love that. So definitely watch Netflix next week as well. The final one that I want to show for you guys, it's a little bit overextended. It's a very big stock. It's not easy to trade options on. The spreads are big. You already know what I'm about to say. It's Shopify. Now, if you are someone out there that likes to trade shop, I want to make videos for everyone out there, right? Maybe one of my subscribers is a very big trader of shop, and this could help them out, right? For newer traders, you know, with $1,000 account, $5,000 account, please stay away from this. This is a very dangerous monster. If you get shop wrong, your account will be incinerated within 30 minutes, right? So this is a very dangerous stock to play. I don't play it typically, but if you are someone with a larger account, you're familiar with how shop moves, then here you go. This is my thoughts on Shopify. So a big move on Friday, monster move. One of the biggest moves I've ever seen on Shopify. I think this has to do with expectations of the holiday season approaching being strong. I think that is probably why we saw this move. I think as we approach this holiday season, I think Shopify maybe gets a little bit of a push higher. If you go into the live news, Thinkorswim says this move had no company-specific news. So I was trying to think through, why are we seeing Shopify move here? I'm thinking, one, it's because of a strong NASDAQ market on Friday. And two, I think Shopify gets a little bit of a move as we move into the holiday season. So you got a huge move, guys, new all-time highs. Shopify has been consolidating for quite a while. And when you see a move like Shopify, a stock like Shopify break through highs like this, I'm on the side of thinking this has a lot more to go. This was a huge move, a lot of volume right after earnings. Earnings was strong. They had really good earnings. It moved higher. This is a little bit of a lagged move. I think this is part of the earnings move as well. I think this has a lot of upside. If you're someone that wants to buy this for your long-term portfolio, I think that's a great idea. Buy shares of Shopify. You don't need to trade options on it, but this is a huge breakout, right? So if you go to the weekly chart, you guys can see this chart just continues to go higher, right? I mean, Shopify, rightfully so. It's a great company. It's right where it should be with the future of innovation. It's e-commerce. It's everything where it should be for future growth. You know, Shopify, I think, is a great name here and breaking all-time highs. This is the last time we were up here was back in July of this year. So I think you probably get a little bit of upside here, maybe a pullback, back to previous highs in the coming weeks. If you get it back to those previous highs, I think that's a great buy as well. So Shopify, I think, should be on everyone's watch list. It's going to be a monster. If you're someone that's comfortable with it, then I definitely recommend looking for more upside here. So that's what I have for you guys today. Facebook, Netflix, Shopify, staying with the big cap names. I think NASDAQ has a good week next week after bouncing off that trend line. Of course, things could change. The market could fall. I can't tell what happens in the future, but I like to see what's happening on the charts. If it's showing me bullishness, then I have to be bullish. If it starts to show me something that's bearish, then I can go ahead and change my mindset on where the market goes. As always, you go into plays with risk management. If you are wrong, there is nothing to be worried about. As long as you are in a play with proper risk management, if you are wrong, there's nothing to worry about. I don't even care to lose anymore. It doesn't matter to me because I am confident at the end of the day that the loss will be small and my next win will make up that loss. So I hope you guys approach trading like that. Don't try to approach trading by trying to be right all the time. Once you can accept that you have to be wrong and a way to avoid big losses, I think you guys will do much better and trade much more relaxed and a strong mindset. So thank you guys again for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. A little bit of a short one. It's Sunday. I don't want to be here all day. Hopefully this catches you up on some of the market. If you want to get an update on all of this, come hang out in the pre-market live streams tomorrow. Starts at 8 a.m. Thank you again, guys, for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.